Welcome to Club 17 in the View, and we're thanking Dave Lapham for talking today about the Bengals and all sports. There will be plenty of time for Q&A, and appreciate all of you attending the Derby party on Saturday. Chelsea's going to come up and give us the update. We did have some winning members, and we want to celebrate them. Two other factors. I don't know if you saw, but the Pope has been selected. The white smoke has been seen, but it hasn't been announced yet. So watch your phones after Rotary, please. And we do want to take this opportunity before we get started in the meeting to actually honor an individual, Sheriff Deputy Larry Henderson. It was brought to our attention that he won the Valor Award within our club for the Hampton County Sheriffs in 2011. So we want to have a moment of silence for him, and we know that he's being honored in visitation and funeral the next couple of days. I did want to share some words that were in the public domain from McGuffey, and so I'm just going to read some of her comments. You might have seen them in the various media outlets, but if you remember him, and I'm sure you've seen a picture of him, you'll remember he's a great citizen and a great protector of our county. So McGuffey noted that Henderson was a trainer and worked in several specialized units, adding that he was adamant about staying on the front line, which made him especially unique. Larry touched so many lives in the Hampton County Sheriff's Office, and Larry was very adamant about the fact that he stay on the front line. He did not wish to take exams to be promoted because Larry's service was on that front line. And I have to tell you that it is bravery extraordinaire. When deputies decide that they want to be out there facing every day to day, that's a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice for his family, and I would add for all of us. And they have made the ultimate sacrifice. So in honor of Sheriff Deputy Larry Henderson, I will be ringing the Rotary bell for the moment of silence, so please bow your heads and use that time to think about Mr. Larry Henderson. All right, thank you. It's my pleasure to bring up Mr. John Firemeyer and kick it off with our national anthem. All right. Bring up Mr. Hooks Miller for the four-way test and invocation.
Thank you, President Eric. In Rotary, we start each meeting with an invocation, and we're careful, since we come from many religious backgrounds, not to impose one religious prayer on those of another faith. However, from my religious tradition, there's a wonderful prayer from the 1st century of the Common Era which doesn't mention any particular religious teacher, and so I'd like to use part of that prayer today. Please imagine that you've never heard this prayer before, because it's possible that some in this room haven't. The prayer starts like this: Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Now, two comments. One, in my religious tradition, God is like a father, and we are sort of like his children, and we address him informally using the thee, thy, and thou form, which is like tu in French or Spanish. Now, the prayer continues: Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Now, this line inspired the social gospel movement of the early 20th century. The social gospel movement was a Protestant religious revival which then informed the progressive movement in the United States. And the Rotary Club was founded and remains part of the progressive movement. Now, the classic progressive leader and the U.S. president when Rotary was formed was Theodore Roosevelt, the trust buster, the anti-corruption reformer, the creator of the national parks, the Great White Fleet, the Panama Canal. And Rotary was part of that movement of social improvement. The prayer continues: Give us this day our daily bread. Now, it's our bread, not my bread. If it were my bread, that would be the prosperity gospel. But of course, man does not live by bread alone. So bread stands in, for example, for the Rotary 7 areas of focus. Bread stands in for peace, health, water, mothers, children, education, economic development, the environment. So with this in mind, let us bow our heads in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Amen. And now let us repeat the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thanks, Hux. To announce our visiting Rotarians and guests, Don Keller.
Thank you, President Eric. First, I just wanted to say on behalf of the club, welcome to Dave Lapham, because Dave really helped us with Believe to Achieve many, many years ago when we first got that kicked off and started. And Dave and Brad Johansson for several years were our MCs and really did a wonderful job. So thanks, Dave. So we have 4 guests today. Jay Jansen from Cincinnati Experience, who is a guest of Ed Mathis. Jay, stand up. Lisa Nolan, who's a guest of Lisa Lickard. Lisa. Mark Heidrich, Total Pro Source, guest of Lisa Lickard. And Mia Mitchell of the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, guest of Michael Schatzman.
Thanks, Don. So update us on Chelsea Jansen. We have, actually, Chelsea's double billing. She is our meeting sponsor, as well as she's going to update us on Derby Days recap. So thanks so much for what you do and your company does for Rotary Club of Cincinnati. And let's hear from the meeting sponsor. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you. So yeah, you guys will hear a lot from me today. My first step is going to just talk about the sponsorship. So Fork Bank has 23 banking centers and 3 loan production offices across Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio. We have over 260 employees and approximately $1.5 billion in total assets. That's making it one of the largest privately held banking groups based in Kentucky. This year marks Fork Bank's 40th anniversary since Mr. Terry Fork founded the bank in 1985. Our mission statement is to consistently exceed our customers' expectations, and we do that by offering a variety of products, checking, savings to loans. And we even have a financially based podcast featuring our own banking experts to ensure you have all the knowledge and assistance you need. And on behalf of the bank, they wanted me to extend a huge thank you for letting us sponsor this luncheon and everything that we do for our community. All right, now to talk about our Derby fundraiser on Saturday. I first want to thank everybody who attended, and I also want to thank my partner Gina Washington for all the help she's done in getting that awesome raffle basket put together. Our Kentucky Derby fundraiser was an absolute blast and a huge success. From the moment guests arrived in their Derby hats and festive attire, we had the music blaring. It was a great time. And so, I'm here to announce our winners of our Derby Squares. So we had an awful, amazing raffle basket that the Petaways won, and then when it comes to our Derby Squares, it was all based on luck. Everybody purchased a square here, and our first place winner was Fred Fisher. So, our second place winner was Brett LeBar. So, we just want to thank everybody who attended and thank you for supporting us. We are very excited for the fundraiser next year. Me and Gina Washington, we are already planning it, so be prepared to hear all about it. So thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea, for being sponsor as well as an update. Excited to bring up Mr. Michael Schatzman to introduce Natalie Grelly and Brian Back. As a reminder, growth is essential for this club. We're +6 in the green here for this year, up 43 new members. And let's learn about 2 new members from Michael Schatzman.
Thank you, President Eric. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. All righty then. First up, I'm going to introduce Natalie Grelly as a new member of the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Natalie, an accomplished photographer, educator, entrepreneur, and proud mom. Originally from Youngstown, Ohio, she holds degrees in photojournalism and fine art photography from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, the Ohio State University, and the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. She launched her photography business in 2001 and brought it to Cincinnati in 2007, later opening a boutique portrait studio in Westwood. Specializing in luxury portraits and personal branding, Natalie offers clients a full-service, confidence-boosting experience that's been described as photography concierge. Her talent and reputation recently earned her the honor of being selected by the American Sign Museum, who all was at our meeting at the American Sign Museum. Okay, so Natalie is the official photographer for their upcoming book celebrating the museum's 25th anniversary. She also contributes to Soapbox Cincinnati and has also taught photography at several local institutions. Outside of work, Natalie is a self-proclaimed hometown tourist, loves food, travel, and spending time with her family, including chasing after that little 5-year-old of hers. She joined Rotary to deepen her community engagement and share her passion for connection and service. Please give a warm Rotary Club of Cincinnati welcome to Natalie Grelly. And next, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Brian Back. Brian is a proud longtime resident of Cincinnati and a graduate of the University of Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. His career spans both large corporations and fast-paced startups, where he's built everything from e-commerce platforms for Kroger and The Gap to cutting-edge AI tools used in the manufacturing and operations spaces. Currently, he serves as director The teleprompter slowed down. Of product management at Divisions Maintenance Group, leading initiatives that bring automation and AI into operational workflows. Brian has called Cincinnati home for over 12 years, and this August, he and his fiancée will be getting married at Music Hall. Outside of work, he enjoys cooking, exploring Cincinnati's many parks, and working on his golf game, which he admits is still a work in progress. Ain't that true for all of us? Brian joined Rotary to deepen his engagement with the community and give back. He's already jumped in as a member of the picnic committee and is eager to build new connections and contribute in meaningful ways. Please give a warm Rotary Club of Cincinnati welcome to Brian Back. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program, already in progress.
Thanks, Michael. And by the way, Michael has brought in over 20 new members this year. Michael made a reference to the picnic. It is back on August 23rd. More to come in the future, but if you want to put it on a calendar, go ahead and put it in your phones. It's my pleasure to bring up Linda Muth to update us on the Legacy Circle.
So most people want to know, I guess we skipped a slide. Christy, could we go back one? Where did she go back? There we go. So we just recently celebrated our Legacy Circle members by holding an event at the Baker Hunt's Cultural Center. Last month. There we enjoyed a cooking class, painting, or pottery class. And we had an amazing dinner prepared by some of the members of the Legacy Circle Rotarians. One of the projects was making pottery mugs, and I have to say this is Sam Scoggins, a very beautiful edition of this. So really the big question is, we keep moving ahead, let's go back. Here we go. So the big question a lot of people have is, what is Legacy Circle? So what I'd like to do is start by having anybody that is a Legacy Circle member stand, please. So if you have questions about Legacy Circle, speak to one of these folks and give them a round of applause. So what the Legacy Circle is members who have contributed over $5,000 to our local Rotary Foundation of Cincinnati. And the next question is how can I be part of the Legacy Circle? Well, that's a good question. The big thing is what happens if I don't have $5,000 to contribute at this time? Well, what you can do is you can contribute stock, you can make a bequest in your will, you can also do a contribution for making a donation over time, over a 5-year period. So we'd like to invite all of you who are not Legacy Circle members, who would like to come to the next party Linda plans, to go ahead and sign up. There's a QR code right at the front. I'm going to put the QR code up here so you can see, but you already know the things that we do in the community from the standpoint of the foundation. Something new this year is we have what's called the 1961 Society. I think we're going automatically. The 1961 Society, what that does is if you contribute as a Legacy Circle 3 times over a 3-year period each year, you become a member of this 1961 Society. So all of you that were standing, you need to get your donations in no later than June 30th to start your ball rolling for the 3 years. The other thing we've done is started a local project fund, and what that will do is all of those funds will actually be donated to local projects, which is really important from the stability of our community, and it allows you to designate where those go. So if you would like to learn more about the Legacy Circle, this QR code is also up front, but this will enable you to go right to our foundation page and learn more about the Legacy Circle and actually apply, because the application is there. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. So we have no committee meetings today. We do have some birthdays. Jim Neidhard, May 6th, Sam Soggins, May 8th, Katie McCann, May 9th, Jan Rassman, May 11th, and Alex Cameron on May 12th. I know Jim and Sam are here. If you could raise your hand. Let's wish them a happy birthday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday! All right, so split the pot. $44 to the winner and $242 for the big pot. I'm going to ask Mr. Lapham to pick the winning ticket. Pressure's on. All right. All right, the winning ticket is 385-341. 385-341. Bill Stilley. All right, still on deck. All right, in the family of Rotary news, we were recently notified that Rotarian Dr. Charles Pierce has been moved to Heritage Spring of Westchester. Cards or notes would be appreciated. And some dates to remember, we have a lot of upcoming news here. So on Friday, May 16th at 12:30 at the Dater Montessori Elementary School in Boudinot to celebrate Bonnie Reddig's, which she's here, leadership in transforming the campus into the glorious Dater Montessori Nature Center with an arboretum, wetland, and meadow maze. We'll honor Bonnie and tour this outdoor education treasure enjoyed by students and the entire community, sponsored by the Environmental Sustainability Committee. Thanks, Bonnie. Let's have a round of applause for Bonnie. We have an upcoming hands-on service at the Academy of World Language International Festival on Saturday, May 17th, 10 a.m. to 1:30. Volunteers will help with serving food and running games, among other things. Please see Rotarian Jim Neidhart to help with this project and sign up through the link in the E-Raise or DACDB. Jim, you raise your hand and you can let's go see Jim after if you have any questions. Our next professional development series event, Feedback That Works, Authentic, Actionable, Transformative with Ann Thompson, Leadership and Career Coach, will be held at 11 a.m. before the Thursday, May 15th meeting. Sign up in DACDB. We have our next upcoming neighborhood coffee on Tuesday, May 20th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Cream and Sugar Coffee House on Montgomery Road. Please feel free to bring a prospective member. Sign up on DACDB. Rotary Club Euchre will be held on Tuesday, May 27th, hosted by Bob and Joyce McElroy. All levels of playing ability are welcome. Please feel free to bring your spouse and guests. Arrive at 6:30, play begins at 7. Please RSVP to Bob. The last update is Rotary Connect Committee will host an evening at Par 3 Newport at the Levee on May 29th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. All are welcome. Please plan to attend and bring a guest. Mini golf is available for members and additional guests for just $16. RSVP in DACDB. And I want also to thank for Mother's Day on Sunday. We want to thank all of the mothers out there. Let's give a round of applause for all you do for us, and if we wouldn't, you inspire us, and we want to appreciate you. Let's give a round of applause for all the mothers in the audience. Thanks for all you do. And make sure you have your family do everything for you because you deserve it. It's my great pleasure to announce Al Conscious to introduce to today's program.
Thank you, President Eric. I'll give you a quick football story before I start. The subject of student athletes' graduation rates has been a long time in the news, and this goes back to Alex Karras's days. And he played his football in Iowa, and when he was asked about his graduation, he said, well, I never graduated from Iowa. I only went there for 2 semesters, for 2 terms, I'm sorry. He said, I only went there for 2 terms, Truman's and Eisenhower's. Today I'm very pleased to welcome Dave Lapham, a Cincinnati legend around here. He's a former football guard for the Cincinnati Bengals from 74 to 83, and was with the USFL New Jersey Generals from 84 to 85. During his career, he played all 5 line positions and was a key player on the 81 Bengals team that won the AFC Championship and went to the Super Bowl XVI. Fortunately, as you remember, they lost to the 49ers that year. He has served as a Bengals radio color commentator for over 30 seasons and is also local Bengals TV analyst, radio host, and is a Big 12 football analyst for the Fox Sports Network. Dave was selected by the Bengals in the 3rd round of the '74 draft. He played with them until 1984 when he signed a 10-year personal services contract with Donald Trump, who was then majority owner of the New Jersey Generals. Dave resides in Cincinnati with his wife Lynn. They have 2 grown children, Dave Jr. and Sarah. Dave is very active in the Cincinnati community and is president of the charitable foundation Charities MD, which awards scholarships to students looking to pursue a career in healthcare. Please welcome Dave Lapham.
Thank you very much, Al. I know that's what is written everywhere, a 10-year personal services contract with the former president, or current president now, Donald Trump. It was only a two-year personal services contract, but it was great. I don't know where they got that number 10, but it was very interesting. I finished my 10th year with the Cincinnati Bengals and negotiating a contract with Mike Brown, and the New Jersey Generals of the USFL had my rights from a geographical standpoint, and I went to Syracuse, so they had that region, and they had my rights as a free agent with the National Football League at that time. So I took a trip to New Jersey to meet the owner of the New Jersey Generals at that time, and it was Donald Trump. 38 years old at the time. I was 32, and we met up in the top of the Trump Tower. He had just finished building the Trump Tower, panoramic view, windows everywhere of Manhattan. The water was beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful day, and we sat down to negotiate. And with Donald, what he wants to have the upper hand, so his desk was elevated a couple of steps, 2 steps elevation. On top of that, where I was sitting with my lawyer, who took care of the legalese and all that sort of thing, it was 2 steps down. So we're down, he's up. And I mean, I'm looking up like it's the Wizard of Oz, you know? And behind Donald was a full portrait of himself, a full portrait of Donald. So I'm like, Donald likes Donald a lot. But yeah, it got down to the very end of the negotiation, and my attorney did a great job. And so I thought, well, he brought me here for a reason. It's Fisher cut bait time. So I looked at my agent, lawyer, and I said, I didn't really say anything to him. I just kind of gave him like a little open, wide-eyed, open eye look. And I looked up at Donald Trump because he was way up there. And I said, well, Mr. Trump, if you'll guarantee the 2-year contract you're talking about, and of course the signing bonus, I'd consider it definitely coming to the USFL, because at that time the NFL wasn't guaranteeing contracts unless you were like a 20-time Pro Bowler and a future Hall of Famer kind of guy, and that wasn't me. But he looked at me and he said, guarantee the contracts, the years of the contract? I said, yeah, because I don't, and I would prefer that you would do it personally, a personal services contract, because I trust your finances more than the USFL's finances. And, I said that I'm not sure the league will make it. It's a new effort by you and a bunch of other owners. I hope it does. It'd be great having, another leverage for athletes and football players to take care of their families. But I said I would do this deal with you if I could do a personal services contract with Donald Trump. And he just kind of like looked at me, looked at my lawyer, looked out at the water, looked at me again, and looked at me for a long time. It seemed like a long time. It was probably only 3 seconds. And he goes, done, son. And I'm like, son of a gun? I got a guaranteed contract, So I immediately informed Mike Brown, who was not happy about it, that he thought I was going to come back and continue negotiating with the Bengals. I told him, I said, when he said he was going to guarantee the money, how do you turn that down? Then I talked to my wife, and she was much happier than Mike Brown was, and so that was all good. But that's my association with Donald Trump, and he was a very hands-on owner. He was at every practice, not just games. He was at every practice, and we practiced at Giants Stadium, Giants, Jets, Meadowlands, and I mean he wanted to see what his investment was doing, and he knows the game. He understands football, and if a guy had a bad practice, a bad day, bad workout, I mean, they were gone. And I witnessed it firsthand. We were doing some pass protection, pass rush drills in the end zone right by the tunnel where Mr. Trump used to come and go up to his offices from the stadium and all that from the field. And offensive and defensive line were working in that end zone, pass rush drills, arm over, rips, all that sort of thing, protecting. And we had one guy who was having a bad day. Defensive line was just having a bad day. And he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. You couldn't really find the stadium every day, never mind, He was one of those kind of guys. Immensely gifted physically, but not much upstairs. And he was struggling, and the coaches were going crazy, and Donald figured it out pretty quickly. And so the practice ends, and we come walking off the field, and I'm walking with Brian Millard, who was a big lineman from Texas who ended up playing with the Seattle Seahawks for a lot of years in the NFL. And I said, man, something's happening here. I can feel it. He goes, you think so? I said, yeah. Old Rico's in trouble, man. And he was. Mr. Trump goes, bring him over here. Brings him over, and he said, that was the most pitiful performance I've ever seen, be it a practice, be it anything, and I'm not going to witness that anymore. You're done, son. And Rico kind of like, didn't really get it at first, I don't think. He kind of looked at him kind of like, a blank stare, and he goes, no, your career with the New Jersey Generals has officially ended. I've got a driver coming to pick you up. Go pack your things. He will take you to the airport, and don't linger. I don't want you contaminating my locker room any more than necessary. I was like, whoa. I mean, he was like cold-blooded. But that's Mr. Trump. He's a tough businessman. There's no question about it. And I think that's how, he's looking at running the country like a business, It's very interesting what he's doing with the tariffs and everything that's going on there. But I think he has a an end plan. He has a big picture plan in mind, I think, and we'll see how it all unfolds. Could be some short-term pain for some long-term gain, as the old saying goes. So that's basically the USFL. That was after NFL career. Played 10 with the Bengals, 2 with the New Jersey Generals, 12 seasons altogether, but 10 NFL seasons as a player, and this will be my 40th in the year in the broadcast booth as a radio analyst, so coming up on my 50th year, which is meaningful, and so my friends and family are excited about that, and it'll be a fun year for sure, and hopefully the Cincinnati Bengals have a great year to go along with it. It would be, as Al mentioned, played in the Super Bowl and have broadcast 2 others, and 0 for 3. Haven't won any of them. But there's not a whole lot of teams in the National Football League that can claim going to 3 Super Bowls. Really, there isn't. It's less than a third of them. So getting there is great, but winning it is unbelievable, they say. We haven't experienced it yet as a player or a broadcaster, but it has to be because, you know, we've been close. And just getting to the Super Bowl, the enormity of that game is really incredible. I mean, the entire world, not just the United States, the entire world tunes in on the Super Bowl. It is nuts, the numbers that the Super Bowl gets from a broadcast standpoint. And that talks about the popularity of the sport. Before I get too far along, I would like to, thank Larry Henderson for what he did in his life for helping us enjoy the lives that we enjoy, and feel, thoughts and prayers are going out to his family for sure. That's a tough scenario, and he's allowing us to live the good life in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is a great place to live life. It's a heck of a city, as we all know. Congratulations for all the things you do for the city of Cincinnati. I mean, it's incredible, all the things that you provide for the city of Cincinnati, and that's what helps make the city so great. Everybody does a little, so nobody has to do a lot, as the old saying goes. And that's one thing that the Bengals are touting as they put together their roster, put together their football team for this season. The city of Cincinnati. It's guys that have families. It's a great place to raise a family. Got a linebacker that they drafted in the second round, married. He's got a 5-year-old and a I think 6-month-old, 7-month-old, and he's already very excited about what Cincinnati has to offer his family. And I can tell you, it's a factor. I ended up getting married, 4 days before reporting to training camp my rookie year, and I was like, geez, I don't know. That's the timing of it. Of course, my wife Lynn is like, you're just trying to find a way to get out of getting married. You really don't want to get married, do you? Like, no, I'm going to play. I'm going to training camp to get my butt kicked, and I'm thinking, am I going to make it? And I'd like to be able to provide. You'll be able to provide. If you don't play football, you'll do something. Okay, thank you. That's great. So I'm getting married 4 days before and going to training camp. There were some long phone calls. She stayed back in New England. Her whole family was from back there. She worked at Hale & Dorr, a great law firm in Boston, as a legal analyst. And so she stayed there and worked, and would call every night. You gonna make it? I don't know. Come on, you're gonna make it. I don't know. Maybe. So some days were good, some days not quite as good, but that I can vouch for how difficult that is. So when you're playing for not just yourself, but you're playing for your family and playing for doing everything you possibly can to make your family as successful as possible, that's an interesting dynamic. So. And again, the legacy circle, I do want to make mention of that, Rotary Club. The quality of life that you're providing by doing those kind of things and making the city of Cincinnati a better place to live I'm telling you, it's a factor when they're out there recruiting athletes, football players to come to Cincinnati. It really is. And Cincinnati has become a destination. I mean, it's a great place when you're traveling a lot in business, as you folks are in, and athletics, being right in the middle of the United States of America, and that right in the heart of the Midwest, and be able to travel everywhere pretty equidistantly, you know, in terms of not having to go 5 hours, you know, one coast to the other coast. I mean, all those little things add up. You got a long season, you have a lot of travel within that season. We were just talking a little bit earlier, the Bengals might be playing, you know, over in Europe this year. They might be playing a game at some point against the Miami Dolphins over in Spain. So there's nothing official there, but there's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. So, you know, that is a possibility. Cincinnati it's a great place to work, great place to live, tremendous place to raise a family. And Zach Taylor is doing a big-time job right now of building a tremendous culture. And, you know, that culture is, okay, we're going to not only put together a roster, we're not only going to fill out a roster of our football team, it's going to be of people that we're very, very proud of, and build a culture that the city of Cincinnati can be very, very proud of as well. And every single person that they drafted and that they've tried to sign in free agency and all that unrestricted veteran free agency, and I'm telling you, I've got a million notes. These are just some of the notes here that I've been working on for the draft and everything else. So it's been crazy watching them put together the football team. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I mean, the draft is not just in April. The draft is a year-round process, and the Cincinnati Bengals and every team in the National Football League, by the time they make their first selection of the draft, they've gotten information on the player since his high school days. I mean, they don't just reach out to college coaches anymore. They reach out to high school coaches. Shamar Stewart is a guy that was highly regarded, you know, a 5-star, 4-star, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Those guys get on the radar of NFL teams in high school. And so they've got a handle on him for a long period of time. Some guys are 5-star recruits in high school and peter out. You know, they peak early and then they don't really have great college careers. Other guys are 2-star, maybe 3-star guys in high school, and they're just on the cusp of becoming what they're going to be. And they've got a lot of meat on the bone to grow and develop. And that's the beauty, that's the key to putting together a good roster. And there's no science or magic to it. It's just a gut feel. And I'll tell you that Paul Brown probably had as good a gut feel about guys. Oh, he's peaked. This guy's on the downside of his career. This guy, he's just scratching the surface. Let's keep awareness on this player. If he ever becomes available, let's get him. And back then, the only way you could really get a player is if you got cut by another team or you traded for him. There was no free agency. There was no restricted free agency, unrestricted free agency, all that sort of thing. It was a different day. But the evaluation of players is, you know, a talent that every team in the National Football League aspires to, for sure. And the Bengals still, because Mike Brown, of course, Paul Brown's son, Mike Brown really still feels like the best way to build a franchise is through the draft. Now, in this era of unrestricted free agency, you still have to compete in that area for sure, but he believes the draft is the way to go. And you know, I think the numbers show that. I think there's a way that you can rationalize that for sure. And this year's draft, 6 players. Every single one of the players have high character. They're all good students. All of them are involved in other things on campus. They're just not jocks as such. You know, they have other interests in their life. A lot of them played other sports. You got Shamar Stewart was an all-state basketball player in high school. Can you imagine that? 6'5" plus, 280 pounds, 40-inch vertical jump, dunking on you. I mean, crazy. That kind of size, that kind of weight, to be able to broad jump 10 feet, 11 inches, almost 11 feet broad jump. I mean, that's defensive backs do that, not 280-pound linemen. That's why, you know, he's the 17th pick of the draft. He is a genetic freak. He is. He is. I mean, he also runs a 4.59 40. I mean, he breaks 4.6 in a 40-yard dash. That is, I know everybody is not, no, what's 4.6 in a 40? What is that? I mean, that's pretty fast, particularly a guy that size. I mean, you'll hear, you know, oh yeah, man, this corner, he ran 4.5. Well, this guy at 280 pounds is less than a tenth of a second slower than him. And the guy is probably 100 pounds lighter than him. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And so that kind of athletic ability translates to the strength and power and everything else that you need on a football field. And the thing about Stewart, you know, everybody's concerned. There's a lot of naysayers, obviously, about the draft and that aspect of building the franchise and the roster. It's like, I don't have a problem with what they addressed, because going into the draft, I felt like areas that they needed to improve upon were the interior of the offensive line, interior of the defensive line. And then, you know, if you can get an inside linebacker or a safety to boot to solidify the middle of the football field, be strong up the middle, and then make them go to the outside of the football field, you're going to have a chance. Offensively, interior of the offensive line, got the quarterback, maybe address a little depth in the running back position, be strong up the middle on that side too, and that's what they pretty much did. So I don't think people had a real big objection to what they did. It's who they drafted. You know, a lot of people are like, oh man, they drafted a lot of boomer bust guys. Is this guy going to make it? Or, you know, does he legitimately have a shot to be the guy? And Shamar Stewart falls into that category because with all those physical attributes we talked about, he had 39 quarterback pressures, which was amongst the most in the country for any college lineman, but he only had 1.5 sacks. That's not many. That's like amongst the fewest in the country. So he was disruptive, and to me, looking at tape on him, that is his biggest plus. This guy is disruptive, and there's no real category for disruptive. You know, there's pressures, that's disruption. You're the first guy to the quarterback has to take the ball down and move, and somebody else gets a sack. You don't get the sack, but you get a pressure. You cause the quarterback to do something he didn't want to do, and a teammate finalized. Tackle for loss, you know, you get that as a stat, and he had a bunch of those. And he had a bunch of quarterback pressures. The running game, he was outstanding. I mean, the guy at that size, you always talk about coaches like Hank Buller, great defensive coordinator we had, talked about knockback. At the line of scrimmage, you want to be the guy to knock your opponent back, off the line of scrimmage, knock him backwards, knock back. He's a knockback king. He knocked him back every single snap. He never got his butt knocked back. I mean, it was like he'd muscle up on people and like just own the line of scrimmage. So he was double teamed. You didn't block him with one guy. He was double teamed and sometimes triple teamed. The back would come in there and try to give some help as well. With all that said, he was top 5 in the country in run defense because he would knock 2 guys back. Not just one, he'd take 2 guys and knock them back. I mean, he is a specimen, and Al Golden has a plan for him, and I feel very confident that Al Golden knows what he's looking at. And the Bengals, their first 2 picks of the draft were defense. They went defensive tackle, they went linebacker, and that's not a surprise because they spent a ton of money on their offense. They gave Joe Burrow a bunch of money, well spent. He's the best in the NFL, in my opinion. If he's not, it doesn't take long to for roll call. He is very gifted, and they gave him a good bit of money, and they gave the two guys he throws to, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, a lot of money as well. They gave those guys, you know, a good haul. There's no doubt. Joe Burrow makes $50 million a year, and between the two, on an annualized basis, and between the two of them, they're looking at about 40, or over 40. They're looking at almost 50 themselves, like 49. So I mean, you got $100 million between, you know, three guys. So they made a commitment offensively, a big-time commitment. So now they got to get the defense up to snuff. And if this offense is one of the best in the National Football League, statistically, opinions by just about everybody that evaluates the National Football League, defensively, they're in the bottom, you know, bottom third. That's being kind. Maybe the bottom 10. If they can get to mid, if they can get in the top 15, or if they get in the top 10 defensively, look out. They have a legitimate shot of going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they lost football games last year, 38-35. You know, it's like, come on, man. You know, you're handling things offensively, and you can't, you can't stop anything defensively. You're a sieve on that side of the football. So if they can get their defense in order and handle that aspect of it, it could be a pretty damn good football team. And that's the plan. You know, they're building the roster out. Like I said, they started with unrestricted free agency, then it went to the draft, then college free agency, and now you have a second go-round, secondary market of unrestricted free agents that didn't get signed the first time that are out there. So there's multi-levels to building your roster. Your roster is just not one thing that you have to do, and you have to do it on a year-round basis. I just did a podcast earlier this week with Mike Potts, who's the director of the Bengals personnel and scouting, and you know, he talked about that, how much it is a 365-day a year scenario. Like we mentioned earlier, you're not scouting players at the All-Star games their senior year, and oh man, this guy, he dominated at the Senior Bowl. This guy had a heck of an East-West Shrine game. Man, this guy, look at how he played, you know, in the Blue-Gray game. You're doing the whole body of work, and these guys put in a lot of hours. I mean, they're doing a lot of travel. They're spending time away from their families. It's a grind. Doing what they do is definitely a grind. They love it. They do a good job of it, and they don't expect anybody to feel sorry for them. That's what they decided they wanted to do with their lives, and they do an exceptional job of it. And so the Bengals, I think, with what they've got at quarterback, because even the legendary Paul Brown, going back to Paul, when Paul had great teams, he had a phenomenal quarterback. It starts with that. If you don't have a quarterback, it's difficult. I mean, there are teams in the NFL, like right up the road, Cleveland, they got a lot of pieces, but they got about 18 quarterbacks in camp, and they're trying to figure out which one's going to be their guy, and that's their biggest void. If they get quarterback figured out, they're good. I mean, they got a lot of components, a lot of pieces, and there's more than one of those teams in the National Football League that are in that situation. So the Cincinnati Bengals look at themselves as very, very fortunate to have Joe Burrow, and they know that there's a window of opportunity here. He's got X number of prime years, and I think he's going to have a lot of prime years because he takes unbelievable care of himself, and football's important to him. And everybody's like, you know, well, football's got to be important to you if you're playing at that level. You'd be surprised. Some of these guys are so talented and so gifted, it's like, yeah, you know, I really don't care about football that much. I kind of like it, but, you know I can play. That's not him. He's like consumed with the game, and he's a hell of a player as well, and he's a tremendous leader. So when you have that and a couple of weapons like he has to throw to, and signing Mike Gesicki as well as a tight end in unrestricted free agency is big. That guy can take advantage of people, get mismatches, 6'6", 240 pounds, can really run. Get him on a smaller safety or a slower linebacker. Joe Burrow's going to feast on that. Again, offensively, sky's the limit. Defensively is where the improvement has to be made. So, and believe me, they're acutely aware of that. I wanted to go about 15. Am I at that point, at that line of demarcation? Appreciate that. Good body language over there. I like the signal. So I want to make sure that we have time to address questions that you guys have, because I've always felt that these kind of things are for you guys, and everybody understands the game, high-level fans from an IQ standpoint. I'm excited about the potential questions that are going to be coming here. So why don't we open it up? I'll spread some of these notes out, because I know we're going to hit areas that you guys are going to be probing that are going to be more important than others.
This one you can probably answer off the top of your head.
Okay.
So there's a lot of press lately about Trey Hendrickson, and it all sounds pretty pessimistic. I wonder what your take is on the chances of keeping him.
I like the chances big time. I think that the pessimism is media driven. You know, I do know that that the Cincinnati Bengals want to sign him, and it's not that's the biggest thing. Do they want him to return? Hell yeah. 17.5 sacks, 35 sacks the last 2 years. That's best in the National Football League, both, you know, combined, 1 year, 2 years total. When you have somebody like that you signed from another team in free agency, and he was a good player, but he wasn't what he is now, and they obtained him, developed him, watched him grow, put all the resources in organizationally that it takes to do that, and you're going to let him go somewhere else? It just doesn't jive. And that's not Mike Brown's line of thinking. You know, Paul would be spinning in his grave if that happened. You know, he would not approve of that whatsoever. And I think the Bengals, what they did with Trey, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think there's some merit to my thinking, is that, okay, he's asking for a ton of money, and rightfully so. He's making 15.8 to 16.2 this year salary. He wants 30 plus, and should get it. I mean, that's what the guys are getting. The best guys in the league are getting that. It's crazy. And my wife, Lynn, will say, you got anything left? I mean, even, well, if you can just make a roster, that's a hell of a lot more money than we made when you were playing, you know, just to make a team. It is crazy. I mean, my first 3 years of my rookie contract, $26,000, $29,000, $33,000 were my salaries. Now it's like guys don't get out of bed. I mean, that's not NIL money. That's not, I mean, guys are getting paid that for high school. You know, it's like, or probably Pee-wee. They got a Pee-wee football player quarterback. You're 20 mil. You're at least 20,000. You know, it's like, it is crazy. But so Trey deserves it. He's earned it. He's earned that high level of compensation. And so how do you do it? You give him a ton of bonus money up front, and bring that 16 million, say it's right in the middle, 15.8, 16.2, 16 million is the middle of it. At least Mrs. Riley, my third grade math teacher, would tell me that. So give him another 16 in bonus money this year, get him up to 32. Then the following years, his salary increases, bonus money decreases, and keep an even cap hit, you know, over a multi-year period with Trey. I think he'd probably go for something like that. But to cover themselves, you know, I mean, Trey's like, they haven't gotten there yet, I guess, obviously, or I think it would be done. But I think that's eventually the kind of deal we're looking at. But there's a process. So now, you know, his representation, his agent's like, you know, well, if you're not going to pay him, trade him. Okay, well, you go out there. We're not going to bang the phones for trade. You go out there as his representation and contact teams around the league and see if they'd be interested in trading and what they would give us to trade him. There's nobody that's giving, I mean, if you're going to pay a guy $30 million, you got to get a first-round draft pick in return. I mean, you're not going to let a guy walk out the door and not get anything in return of, you know, good value that he could provide for you if he's with your team, you're going to get 17 sacks. If not, somebody's going to have to step up, or multiple guys are going to have to step up and make up for that. And you better get a high draft pick, compensation-wise, to maybe you can unearth another Trey Hendricks or somebody close to it. Nobody's talking about that high a pick. So they're seeing where the market is. His people are seeing where the market is. I mean, there's some value in that. If the Bengals, you know, decide they're gonna sign him. I mean, at some point Trey's going to be, you know what? They're only talking late 2, early 3, something like that. Your offer is legit. I mean, that's what I think it comes down to. I think the Bengals had a pretty good feeling that if his representation went out there and explored the market, they'd find exactly what they're finding. And it will help them tighten the window and get a deal done quicker. I'd be stunned if he's not a Cincinnati Bengal. I mean, stunned. And if he's not a Cincinnati Bengal, I mean, it probably won't happen. It'll probably happen sometime during training camp. You know, it'll be long, drawn out like they always are. There's got to be drama. The agent feels like he's got to earn his money. You know, there's got to be, you know, a lot of discussion, a lot of angst, you know, and get a few more bucks with the angst. So I do believe, though, that he'll probably sign 2 or 3 year contract for 90+ mil. Good eats. I mean, it buys a lot of groceries.
So, Dave?
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, why has this team over the last several years laid an egg coming out of preseason? I mean, it's cost them. Losing to some bad teams early in the season. Why do you think that is? Yeah,
I think that is being analyzed by the organization thoroughly at all levels, and the guy who is really studying it, and I think is going to alter his approach is Zach. I think that I can tell you, Paul Brown did not beat us up physically. He really didn't in training camp. But training camp was long and it was arduous, man. I mean, full pads, morning and afternoon, and you know, 2.5, 3 hour practices on the big work days. Other days, Paul would have us out there no more than an hour and a half. I'd say really, honestly, with Paul, it was 2 hours tops. Forrest Gregg, 3 hours plus. Kill you. Full pads. Hit somebody, you know, I mean, he was like, oh, brother. You know, Vince Lombardi, he told us, like, oh, geez, Vince Lombardi, you know, it's like, I've heard so many Vince Lombardi stories. But he was tough. I mean, his training camps were survival. I mean, really, I mean, I remember being so sore. We'd have 2 practices on the first week of contact, the first contact practices. Day 1, I go to bed, you know, rooming like Tom Dinkle, for example, linebacker with the Bengals, rooming with Dink. Go to bed, wake up the next morning, rigor mortis, man, I'm stiff as a board. I can't get out of bed. It's like, oh, I'm so stiff and sore. And it's day 2 of training camp. Jeez. We've got, back then it was like 6 preseason games, and if you, you know, some teams would play a 7th. It's like, and it meant nothing. You know, it was like half a college season or more than half a high school football season for nothing. It was stupid. Now at least they're smarter about that, but I'm thinking it's day 2. We got 7 preseason, got, you know, initially it was 12, then it got up to 14 regular season games. Now it was 16, now it's 17. I mean, that's a long, you're talking about 20 games in some way, shape, or form from a combination standpoint, and I'm like, man, it's day 2, I got 20 games? What the heck? So there's a happy medium. I mean, Paul was probably as kind as you could be, I think, to players in terms of not beating them up physically at training camp. Forrest got beaten up by Vince Lombardi, so it was like, hey, I got my butt kicked, so I'm kicking yours worse, you know? It was definitely two different styles, two different approaches, and both were successful. We won games with Paul. My second year, we won 11-3, 10-4 the following year with Forrest. We went to the Super Bowl. I mean, both of them had success, different ways to skin the cat. But Zach, I think it hasn't worked what he's done. I think he does need to push him a little bit more. Maybe more contact at practice. The last season, he had controlled scrimmages with 2 different teams. So, he's trying, but these controlled scrimmages, it's not full tackling. It's not. And in the preseason games, when there is full tackling, taking people to the ground, he doesn't play his guys. He'll play them like a series of 2, and guys that probably aren't going to make the team are out there, laying it on the line. So I think from a philosophical standpoint, they're probably in the process of evaluating exactly what you say, because, you dig out of a hole, and they have, fortunately, dug out of a hole in a few cases, but there's no reason to put yourself in a 1-4 hole, or an 0-3 hole to start the season. I mean, that's tough sledding in the National Football League. All right. Thank you, sir.
Let's give Dave another round of applause. So we want to honor your presentation today with you talked about the Cincinnati, how great the Cincinnati is. And if you look out here, you'll see the beautiful skyline.
Yeah.
This is our coin. When you walk away from this meeting, remember us. We have a beautiful Cincinnati skyline, and then our 4-way test on the other side.
Awesome.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We're also making a donation in your honor to End Polio Now, which is a global campaign to eradicate polio. We thanks for being here. I know you have to head out, so he's not going to take any questions afterwards. But we will have one picture.
Sure. If you guys, I can probably go another 5 minutes. I just got a text.
You can go another 5 minutes.
5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes.
Like another question, if anybody wants to.
Okay.
You want to get a picture? All right.
Your mic's back to you.
All right. I just got a text. My second event is moved just a little bit, so I have got about only about 5 minutes, I guess, but I mean, I can take another question or two. Yes? Oh. Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going?
So just a quick question. On the,
Yes.
On the scouts,
On the what?
on the scouting.
Yes.
You have scouts out there, the Bengals do,
Yes.
but all the other teams do too.
Yes.
So how do you take advantage of your scouting? Because don't all those other scouts see the same players? They're after the same players all the time? Don't they eventually converge on the same group of people?
There are players that every organization have a consensus opinion on in terms of, oh man, they're in the top 5, top 10 on our board. But what you have is every football team schematically runs things differently. Their approach, their protocols, or the process is a little bit different because in terms of finding players, because one offense may be run heavy with big people, extra big people formationally, and that's what their style of play is, and others are going to be, no, we're not that, we're a quarterback, we got little wideouts, we're going to spread the field, we're going to throw it all over the field. So even though they may have a consensus on who the better players are, and if you're a better player, you can probably handle both schematics. I mean, you're a guy that is, like I talked about before, genetic phenomenon, a freak athlete. But a lot of the players are, this guy, he can't be in an offense that spreads it. We don't have a spot for this guy. He's basically a fullback or a tight end kind of guy. Our offense, we don't use fullbacks, tight ends. Our offense is totally different. Whereas the other team, oh, he's perfect for us. We run 2 tight ends. or we want a tight end and a fullback. We need a guy like this. So you have that aspect of it. So, you know, when you're a scout for an organization, you're scouting players to fit that scheme and the talents that they have, that they've shown on the football field to fit that scheme as well. But again, universally, the one thing that you're trying to get done is don't draft a jerk, you know? I mean, you want to draft a good person. You don't want to draft somebody that brings the franchise and the organization down, you know, creates bad publicity, you know, somebody that teammates can't stand, you know. You don't want that kind of guy, no matter how good he is, although they do it all the time. Oh, we can change that. I can change that guy. You know, God, he's such a great player. I know he's kind of an a-hole, but I can change that guy. Yeah, right. A lot of times it doesn't work.
Speaking of which, in the 5th round, the Cleveland drafted Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
Is that because of his talent or because of his father, or why did you think he slipped 5th round?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably a combination. I think there may be a little bit of a fear factor. I've never seen, and that's as dramatic a slide of a really good player as I've seen in a long time. At one point, he was the first guy in the draft in the early stages, and then he was, you know, middle of the 1st round, end of the 1st round. Then all of a sudden, as it gets close to the draft, I don't know if he's going to be a 1st round draft pick. I don't think anybody thought he was going to go in the 5th round. I don't think anybody did. You look at his tape. I've watched a little bit of his tape. He can throw it. Dude can spin it. He doesn't have a howitzer, but he's got plenty of arm strength. He can get it there. He throws very accurately to good spots. You know, if the defensive back's on the inside, he's high and away. If the defensive back's on the back right shoulder, he's low and outside. I mean, he puts the ball in good. He knows what to do and how to do it. I think, though, his dad is a factor on a few levels. I think Deion gave his son some bad advice when he said, you know what, we don't want to go to that team. So when you have your interview, don't be Shedeur. You know, don't give him the good Shedeur. Give him the obstinate Shedeur or whatever they decided it was going to be. And some of his pre-draft interviews with teams, they say it was bad. And that sent a bad message. And, you know, it's like, what's going on? So I think Deion, obviously, Deion, and he's an interesting guy because I've had the opportunity to sit down with him pre-game, doing preparation for a game that he was coaching. He's a football guy, man. He's a very, very high IQ football guy. And he sounded like every other coach we talked to. I mean, his personality was all business football. Then he gets in situations, the lights are bright, and he's going to be neon Deion. There's two Deion standards, Deion and neon Deion. And I mean, if he gave advice to Shedeur to be, you know, neon Shedeur and Shedeur as well, it didn't work. His teams were like, you know what? He ain't his dad. He's not that kind of talent. I mean, Deion was a freak, man. I mean, that dude was a blur. He had not only straight line speed, he had quickness, short space quickness. He was ridiculous how athletic the guy was. Shedeur's not that kind of guy. And I think 5th round, Cleveland looked at it and said, too much value, why not? Yeah, let's see. I mean, the tape that we evaluated, I don't know where they had him projected. I don't know if they had him projected as a 1st round guy. I'm assuming they might have. And, you know, the tape showed them that. And they felt like, you know what? He's paid his penance, you know. I mean, he's suffered enough. 5th round, let's get this guy. He should have been drafted before this, and they pulled the trigger. 4 quarterbacks. Yep, it'll be an interesting dynamic in Cleveland. And I hope none of them can play. Thank you.
Come back on next Thursday for the CEO of YMCA, and by the way, the new Pope has been announced. It's the first American Pope, Leo the 14th, Robert Prevost out of Chicago.